leads becoming increasingly more expensive for real estate agents and channel partners like Zillow and Homelight and Realtor.com, all increasing their referral fees now from 35%. Some are charging up to 40% now for those warm introductions. You're probably wondering, how am I going to do any business without paying $2,000 for a lead or 35% to a referral site? Well, the easiest solution, easier said than done, is to generate your own business. One of the primary sources for my own personal real estate business over the last 8 years has been my organic social media accounts. And in this video, I'm going to share the framework that I used on my own social media accounts to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions. And I'm going to share that with you in this video. Best news, and best of all the tactics, everything that I'm going to be sharing with you is 100% free. I'm Danny Gould. I'm the CEO and the founder of the Selling Silicon Valley Group and Legendary Agents. Over the last 8 years, I've sold over $200 million worth of real estate here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And organic social media is something that I'm very passionate about. And from the get-go, from when I started in real estate, I knew that I wanted to have a large social media presence, but I didn't really know what that meant at the time. And obviously, over the last 8 years, things have evolved very quickly. But the one thing that I was dedicated to from the get-go was mastering social media. And over the course of the last 8 years, I've made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in GCI from my organic social media profiles. And I didn't spend a dime until a few years into it. That was to scale. But the infrastructure, the systems, everything that I'm going to be sharing right now in this video are things that you can do right now if you have $0 in your pocket, something that you could very easily do and scale as you grow your business. So the framework that I use to grow my business using my organic social media profiles is a 3-part framework. It's super simple, super easy. Anyone can follow it, anyone can do it. But it takes work, and it takes dedication, and it takes consistency. And that's really where, it starts to get difficult. In concept, the theory is like not hard, but then the execution of it is not easy. And so that's the one thing that I want to say before we go into it, is that this is going to take quite a bit of work and consistency and dedication. So first part is you got to start posting. All right. So if you're not posting on your social media, we'll just call it Facebook. We'll start with Facebook, and then we can rip off and duplicate and just kind of scale it to other social media profiles. But I, as a 31-year-old now, wow, it's scary even saying that, but I, as a 31-year-old now, there are many people in my generation who use Facebook. So maybe your generation doesn't use Facebook, but I can assure you that Facebook is one of the better platforms to be doing all of this on. And the great news is, one post you can usually share to another platform, and you just screenshot it and then share to another platform. So you can take this and duplicate it across a variety of different social media platforms. But I use Facebook primarily when I started. So how much should you be posting? I started with once a day, and then I scaled to twice a day. And that's kind of where I stayed. I didn't go crazier or more consistent than twice a day, if I'm really being honest with you. And these would be posts. Now, over the last few years, stories have become a thing. And I would say that stories are the post of today, but you definitely want to mix it up. So I would put in some posts, and I would also do some stories. So if you're going to do one post and a couple of stories, but I would do at least one post a day and a couple of stories, or 2 posts a day and a couple of stories. You want to make sure that we're posting and that we're also putting our stories up at the same time. Now, if you are a new agent, you're watching this right now, experienced agents, you can fast forward maybe 30 seconds. If you're a new agent, one of the biggest misconceptions or one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I see out there is I haven't done anything yet, I haven't sold anything yet, and so I don't have anything to post. Well, are you just gonna celebrate your wins? Absolutely not. People are not attracted. Your consumer base, your sphere of influence is not attracted to success. They're not attracted to results. As much as we wanna trick ourselves and fool ourselves into thinking that that's what they are actually interested or that's what they're actually attracted to, they're not attracted to that. What they are attracted to is the action. They're attracted to activity, because in most people's minds, activity equals success, because they understand, every human being deep down inside understands that action leads to results. Consistent, repeated action leads to results. And so when you are out there and you're brand new, I'm door knocking right now. Just a little story, me walking, door knocking, flyers, flyer time. Really excited to be flyering tonight. Back at the office, making some follow-up calls, right? Here at a broker tour, really excited to be touring 123 Main Street. Those types of posts get recognized just as much as a just sold post. In fact, just sold posts are very self-aggrandizing. It's celebrating your own wins. So some people are actually turned off by that, but no one's going to get turned off by you saying like, out here doing a walk in the neighborhood to find an off-market opportunity for my home buyers. Everyone's going to be like, wow, good for you, Johnny. Good for you, Jill. That's the kind of post that you should be posting, regardless of whether or not you have a lot of wins. The wins should be like 1 out of every like 20 posts, honestly. Right now, we do post a lot of our wins, but as many wins as I post, I'm posting activity and I'm posting action way more than results. So for those of us that are stuck in that limiting belief is like, I don't have enough results, I don't have any results, get out of that limiting mindset and into sharing your activity. That will go a long way in terms of just giving you the momentum that you need on social media. Now, if you skip a day or you take a day off or whatever, that's fine. Like people, you're a human. Like you're allowed to like not be doing it 24/7, 365. But the point is that you take a day off, but like you're back on it the next day, or you take 2 days off, but then you're back on it. So don't allow that inaction or like that missed day to completely derail you. It's like someone who's dieting. You're gonna let one bad day ruin your diet? No, absolutely not. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see agents make when doing these posts is they, at the very end of the post, say like, oh, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals, or I'm like some sort of like very cheesy, slimy call to action at the very end. Don't do that, okay? People know who you are and they know that you're a realtor. So if they're attracted to you and they want to send you business, if they want to do business with you, they're gonna reach out to you. And I'll explain how you're gonna do that in a second. But don't do the cheesy salesman thing. Like people are really turned off by that. It's the 21st century, get with the times. All right, so that part of the framework, that is the marketing component of the framework. The next two pieces of this framework are actually prospecting. And this is where most agents drop the ball. So most agents understand, you probably understand like, hey, I should be posting on social media because that's good marketing. It's good brand building, it's good brand development. Unfortunately, where we drop the ball, or where I see a lot of people drop the ball, is that they're not doing a lot of prospecting on their social media profiles. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean directly DMing every person on your social media profile. I don't care if you went to school with them and you haven't talked to them in 15 years and oh my gosh, I'm afraid that they're not gonna remember me. Do it. Do it anyways. I promise you it's going to work. So my Facebook, when I started doing this, had maybe a little bit over 2,000 friends at the time. And so what I would do is I segmented this friend list and I would send a certain amount of DMs every single day, usually on the treadmill in the morning. And the DM would say something along the lines of, actually, instead of me just making something up right now, why don't I just read you one of these messages? Joe, dropping you a quick message as I'm gearing up for next year. My team is looking to help 40 families buy or sell a home in 2019. I was wondering if you may know of anyone who may need our help. So these are messages that you're gonna send out. Now, I know that it might be a little bit nerve-wracking to be sending these kinds of messages to people that are either close to you or used to be close to you or barely know you. So basically, your social media profile, you might have 15 to 20 people that you talk to consistently on a regular basis and everything. And the rest of them were connected to you or have been connected to you in some way, shape, or form, but there's a distance there. Yeah. And so breaching that distance and going like full send like that can be nerve-wracking. I understand. The way that I like to frame it is this, is that if they don't work with me, they're going to work with someone else. And I know that more often than not, the agent that they're going to end up working with is not going to be as good as I am. They're not going to have their best interest in their heart like I do. And so when I do these outreaches, it's not to help me, it's to save them from working with the thousands of crappy realtors that there are out there. So that's the way that I frame it in my mind. And that helps me overcome that fear of rejection because in my mind, I am helping them. I am saving them from potentially working with a numbskull. So if you can frame it like that, it becomes a lot easier, okay? Now, once in a blue moon, these messages work, meaning like immediately they'll respond back and they'll say, oh my gosh, yeah, like my wife and I, we were just looking for a house and we were thinking about you, we were gonna reach out to you, but what a coincidence, right? That sort of thing. And trust me, like if you send these messages out enough and you send them consistently enough, you will get those types of responses. It's happened to me many, many times over the last 8 years. But more often than not, one of two things will happen. They either won't respond, which is totally cool, or they'll send a response something like, oh, like no worries, or oh no, Danny, like I don't know of anyone right now, but don't worry, you're top of mind, or something, very cordial like that. Very few people are gonna be like, fuck off, or like, don't message me again or anything like that. I think over the course of like the 8 years, I may have gotten that like 3 or 4 times. And one of the dudes I actually know ended up in a mental institution. So like, I don't really feel that bad because the guy went like insane, but he like went off on me. And I was like, that's weird. And then like a year later, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's like actually crazy. Just as an aside, I mean, like I was like, wow, crazy. Didn't see that one coming. If they don't respond, it's not the ideal scenario. But if they do respond, then you want to respond back. Whatever you, oh, no worries, like let me know how I can help you or like in the future or whatever, but like try to keep the conversation going. And this is why, because across all social media platforms as it stands right now in 2023, these platforms reward engagement. Meaning if they see that you're messaging this person back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, then the algorithm picks up on, oh, like Danny and so-and-so, they must be like friends. Oh, well, if they're friends, they're messaging, like we should probably show more of Danny's posts to Joe, right? to so-and-so here. Ah, okay. And so then all of a sudden, Joe's gonna start seeing all of my activity. Start seeing all my posts. He's gonna start looking at them and maybe even liking them every once in a while. And that's going to train whatever social media platform that you are on, that relationship is a relationship that they should continue to feature on that person's page or on that person's profile. And so all of a sudden, I go from maybe showing up on like, you probably right now, if you are not doing this at all, you're probably showing up on maybe 10 to 20 people's feeds consistently. But imagine if you could 10x that. Imagine if you could go from being from 10 to 20 to 100 to 200, or from 100 to 200. And then all of a sudden, if you keep doing this consistently, you can continue to grow that 300, 400, 500. I can tell you with absolute certainty that this strategy has helped me get in front of a ton of people for free on my own social media profiles. And the best part is they already know me. They already like me. They already trust me. And so this has proven to be a really critical part of the strategy is to prospect. And it's not cold prospecting, it's warm prospecting, but to prospect and to ask for business. Don't be afraid to ask for it. Now, obviously don't say like, hey, you're thinking about buying a house today? Like, don't do it like that. But those very like offhanded, like, hey, by the way, like this is the goal that I'm working towards. Do you happen to know anyone that's looking to buy or sell? Then in classic Gary Vee style, I do a couple of jabs before I do the right hook. So that's the right hook. But another one that I used was like, hey, recently several of friends of mine have reached out with real estate questions. So I decided to start a video Q&A series. I was wondering if you had any questions that you'd like answered or potentially any suggestions. Either way, let me know. I appreciate any input you can offer. So that was a message that I sent out. That was one of the jabs. So I wasn't asking for business, but I was reminding them that I was in real estate and I was offering value for free. And so those are the types of messages that I would send out in conjunction with like the right hooks, which is more of like, hey, I'm prepping for this year. I'm gearing up for this year. So I typically send out 2 to 3 of those messages every single year to every one of my friends on Facebook. Now, the third part of this framework is the most uncomfortable part, but it's also the most impactful one. And so I want you to really pay attention here. Obviously, you're not going to have time to do this with every single person on your friends list. So what I would invite you to do is to create a VIP list. Make it something manageable and something that you can commit to. I had about 100 or so people on my VIP list. These were people that I thought of all the people on my social media profile were the most likely to buy with me. Now, the people I excluded were like my best friends, the people that like I hung out with consistently that already knew me and like were definitely going to use me. Like there's probably like 10 to 15 of those that you probably have. I would not invest the time on those people because this is more of like getting those people that are in that tweener where they're not like your bestest friends in the entire world, but they're also not super distant to you. So I don't know like if they're ever going to use me sort of thing, but figure out with like that top 50 to 100 to maybe even if you want to like really implement this as a strategy and you have a large social media following, maybe 200 or 250. This is what you're going to do with those individuals. 1 to 2 times a year, you're going to shoot a personalized video to every single one of those people on your VIP list. And the video goes something like this. Dude, what's going on, man? I hope that you're doing well. It's been a while, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but I just wanted to send you this quick video message. I sat down with my coach earlier this week and we set a goal for me to help 15 more families between now and the end of the year. And so needless to say, kind of need your help. So if you can think of anybody at all, just jogging your memory, like a family member or friend, neighbor, coworker, anybody at all that you can think of, even if they are like super far north or east, maybe I can't help them, but I can certainly help put them in touch with somebody that will be able to help them. So either way, go ahead and let me know. And
if you don't have anybody, I would obviously still love to hear from you. It's been way too long, man. So go ahead and hit me back. And in the meantime, obviously, much love. Take care of yourself and hope to hear from you soon, man. Take care.
Yeah, that was me about 6 years ago. Very embarrassing. And the fact that I'm even putting this out there just should show you like how committed I am to bringing you value, because every time I look at that video, I cringe, but it works. And so here's the thing, right? It doesn't work right away. It doesn't work right away. I'm gonna share with you one of my many success stories here on, I want you to see the kind of consistency that was deployed here. Now, look at this. I sent one video in 2016. I sent one video in 2017. So I only sent 2 videos, right? And then in 2018, I sent him a message. So remember all the tips and everything I was sharing was like, you should do it 2 to 3 times a year and send 1 to 2 videos a year. I wasn't even doing that. And look at what happened. So it's been a while. Hey, look at this. Enjoying your summer. And then boom. So I was messaging him 2016, 17, 18, 19. And then in 2020, right before COVID hits, he says, hey, I'd like to make an offer on this house. Would you be interested in representing us? So again, it's crazy. The reason I share that with you is to show you that it doesn't take a lot of work, but it does take a lot of overcoming that inner voice inside, because notice how there was no response for 4 years. No response. That person was on my VIP list. I knew that I think I have a pretty good chance of working with him, but the dude ghosted me for 4 years, didn't reply, didn't say anything. And then all of a sudden one day out of nowhere messages me. One of the things that stuck out to me when we were meeting and we were going over the buyer consult, he didn't end up buying that house, but we found him a house and got him in a contract within 2 weeks of that message being sent. And then later got to move his best friend right next door to him. So I ended up helping him buy, and then his best friend bought with me too and bought the house right next door. What a great story, right? And so one of the things that stuck out to me when we first met at that consult with him and his wife and his baby was, Danny, you are everywhere. You're following me around, all social media, all the time, everywhere. It's like, I couldn't escape you. So you are the only choice in my mind. And it reaffirmed and reconfirmed all of the things that I knew to be true. And by the way, at that point, I'd already helped dozens of my friends using this strategy. But it was just one of those aha moments where it all came together, because it was the first time really where someone had straight up ghosted, and then reached out to me out of nowhere. And it was the total package. It was the marketing, step 1 of the framework, the marketing that worked, the messaging, and the videos. It was all 3 in conjunction at the same time over the course of 4 years that finally got him to convert. Yeah, I mean, just those 2 deals right there were almost 100 grand in commissions. So right there, there's almost $100,000 strategy. And we're not even scratching the tip of the iceberg there with all of the success stories that I have using this type of process. Now, this same framework, you can bring it to Instagram and do it on IG. You can do it on LinkedIn. In fact, on LinkedIn, I feel like this strategy could be even more effective and even more powerful, because you can reach out to people who you have some sort of connection with. You can reach out to them, connect with them, and there's even a little bit more of a distance there. And so sometimes I've actually found that it's less weird, because we've started using this strategy on LinkedIn a few years ago as well and seen really good results from it too. And what I can say is that on LinkedIn, actually, because of my network, so I went to Stanford, which is in the Bay Area, and lots of graduates are very successful from Stanford and live here locally. So I've been able to leverage those connections too and run the same strategy, but just on LinkedIn. So there are so many applications, so many ways that you can use this strategy, use this approach to grow your business organically without any money. It does take a lot of time, but if this is a strategy that speaks to you, then you should absolutely implement it. I guarantee you will not regret it. You will have so much business, you won't even know what to do with yourself. And basically, just this pillar alone brings in consistently now at least $100,000 in gross commissions to me personally every single year now. And it's basically on autopilot because now I have a VA that's working the system, so I don't really have to do much other than like shoot the videos that I shared with you. Except hopefully now they're like a little bit less cringy, but I bet you anything in 5 years I'll look back at the videos I shoot today and I'm like, oh my God, but that's just the way it goes. So if you've made it this far in the video and you're not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and give me a thumbs up while you're at it. Costs you nothing and it helps me get in front of more awesome real estate agents just like you. And that's it. I hope that this video helped you. I hope that you got something from it, and just fucking do it. This is Danny Gould, selling Silicon Valley. Stay legendary, everybody.